What is up, Breadheads? It's your boy Mike Holland at MC Holland34 over on Twitter, bringing you a DFS first look at tomorrow's college basketball slate for Tuesday, December the 9th over on DK. It's a 7-gamer tipping at 6:30 Eastern Time. 2K the first is on the board in the lottery, and we are also throwing our world famous one and done invitational number 7. It is a $5 entry, 30 spots. We will go ahead and toss that link so you guys can join that and have a lot of fun with us as we normally do. And joining me tonight is a special guest on the show. Yeah, you can catch all of his work over on DFS Army and also on RotoWire Sirius XM show for the NCAA tourney. One of the top CBB DFS players in the game at Razzle11Grinds on Twitter. We have Raz. Raz, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Excited to join you. Pretty pumped. Not so pumped about the pricing on the slate, but we can definitely get into that when we get to some of these games. But yeah.
Well, I'm happy we could finally get to do this. We've kind of been talking about this for a little while now, so it's nice to be able to get on the stream together and talk about some plays and see if we can win the Breadheads some money tonight. So yeah, like I said, we have a 7-gamer. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe buttons. We just crossed 1,700 subs. Make sure you're catching all the content we're doing, from live reactions to coaching interviews to live streaming Mountain West games and some potential new news coming up pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. Hit the like and subscribe buttons and follow us at One and Done CBB. A Snake's Eyes jumps into the comments saying nice slate tomorrow. Yeah, it's definitely a nice slate. Got the old Jimmy V Classic, which we'll be live reacting to. So kind of a quick overview just to dive into this. Slate has a little bit of everything on it, I would say. I'm not really sure why we have the USC hammer, or I mean, I guess the McNeese game is going to be a pretty good game to watch, but I'm not sure that I really wanted it to be on this slate. But both of those games kind of offer something different with a USC hammer minus 17. And then you got some injury news in that one with Rodney Rice. And then you're looking at this McNeese Rhode Island game where on both sides, really, you have value plays galore that you can kind of attack. So both games do offer something kind of unique. I'm more of a tournament player, Raz. For the Breadheads that haven't heard from you before, man, what's kind of like, what do you play? Are you typically, I see you up in the tournaments all the time. Do you play cash? Like, what's kind of tell us about what you kind of dive into in the CBB?
I'm generally just a large field tourney guy. Like my brain just does not want to think safety. My brain just thinks pure upside. I randomly jump into cash. I did some tonight, got killed. The night that I won the one and done invitational, I jumped in a bunch of cash because like that slate just screamed to me that like I knew exactly what was going on, and my cash lineup just happened to nut. But I just can't think safely, even in any other sport. It's not just CBB either. Like my brain just does not want to.
Nice, man. I feel that. I'm pretty much strictly a tournament player. Any quick thoughts on the slate before we dive into it game by game? Any overview or any thoughts that you have up front?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of alluded to it. Like some of the pricing is just a little confusing. You mentioned the value in McNeese and Rhode Island. That's kind of the pricing that just doesn't make sense to me. If they weren't going to be able to price it correctly, I don't know why they included the game.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, there's potential like just mispricing on Clemson if you can guess correctly. Because that rotation is just all messed up too. But yeah, I mean, I just don't love the fact that everybody's just going to play like 2 or 3 guys from McNeese and Rhode Island in their lineups, and it's going to make it a 5v5 or 6v6 for most of the tournaments.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's pretty much what it's looking like. So let's dive into this real quick. First game on the slate, BYU, and we use Ken Palm's numbers, of course, -5 versus Clemson. These were taken earlier in the afternoon, so they may have changed by a point or two, but 153 implied total. This is part of the Jimmy V Classic over at Madison Square Garden. BYU implied for 79 points, Clemson 74. We got a little bit of a pace up for Clemson. BYU playing at the 143rd tempo. Both defenses have been pretty solid. BYU, AJ DeBonsa, 8,700. Definitely have to be intrigued with that for the large field tournament. We know that he's going to take a ton of shots. We know that he has some rebounding upside. little bit of assist upside. The stock upside hasn't really been there, but for his price tag and where it's been to start the season, I don't mind the 8,700. The other guy that I'm really interested in is Richie Saunders, with his price kind of coming down to 7,800. He takes a ton of threes, offers a little bit in the peripheral department. I think both of those guys are in line for tournaments, man. What are your thoughts on this BYU side?
Yeah, I think similar to you. From watching BYU to begin the season, the only thing I worry about is Devonta, kind of, I don't know, disappears a little bit offensively. Like he'll go through stretches, but then he kind of hides in the corner and it turns into a Rob Wright, Richie Saunders dribble around and chuck something for a while. So that's the frustrating part to me. So I think I actually prefer Rob Wright over Devonta right now, at least just the way that they've been playing. Saunders and his peripherals aren't as strong this year, but he's playing a slightly different position now. So he's not grabbing as many rebounds as before. I guess his athleticism is matched a little bit more when he's covering, a guy on the wing or the two. So he can't pick up some of those steals that he got away with against some bigger guys. But I do like him. I actually like Kennard Davis a little bit just because he's a cheap guy and he can suddenly make 4 or 5 threes, and he feels like, kind of one of those cash type plays where he's probably a 4X player with some 6X upside.
Yeah, so I mean, Kennard Davis, right? If we hadn't had the game that we talked about with McNeese and Rhode Island, right? He's not gonna. I don't feel like anybody's gonna really play him on this slate, at least from an early standpoint. And when we look at this, so I definitely don't mind that as a stacking partner, right? If you're running to run 2-0 or try to hammer the dart on the other side as well. But Kevakadis here at 6,700, man, that's just too expensive for me. Loved it when he's at that 5.5K range. Feel like he's an interesting tournament play, but just can't do it on this particular slate. So flipping it over to this Clemson side, man, they were just on the slate the other day. What was it, against Alabama? Really annoying because I was in on the Justin Porter. I think you were. We were talking about it. It just didn't work out. They're implied for 74, but the 13th in bench minutes, and you just don't know. Hunter and Godfrey both got 30+ minutes against Alabama. Nobody's over 6,400 on this team, but it's because it's hard to figure out who's going to do something each night. It's basically spin the wheel. So I want to get your thoughts first on this Clemson side. Who's the guy that, is there a guy that you're even confident in targeting, or what are you doing with this side?
I want to be confident. I just can't be. To me, it's probably Dylan Hunter, at 4,600. Playing pretty well overall. Really good against Bama, so that makes me feel better about using him in this spot. Frustration, obviously, is the fact that, he's basically going to take 7 shots.
Yeah.
And, not many of them can come from 3, too. So, his upside's somewhat limited. But like you mentioned, it's the minutes thing. He seems safe enough along with Godfrey, who I do like. I don't know that Godfrey's going to be running around chasing Richie Saunders or Kennard Davis the entire time on the defensive end. That's a matchup that just doesn't make sense to me. So I am worried about, I don't know, some different lineups, and him losing some minutes in that regard, because they're just going to keep rotating Welling, Davidson, Wallen down low. And we just have no idea what they're going to do. None of those guys are ball dominant ones. So you just have to guess correctly. I kind of alluded to it, earlier. You can guess correctly, and get Wallen right. Get Foster, get Butta Johnson, get Buckner right. But you're still hoping for 20 minutes out of them. And I'm not going back to Justin Porter. I don't think that absolutely burned me. And I should, one of the big things in this industry is when a guy burns you, you should go back to him the next time. But I just, based on obviously the pricing we're going to talk about with McNeese and Rhode Island, and plus, Dylan Hunter, Kennard Davis, I'd just rather play those guys and not worry about Justin Porter.
Yeah, so I think I am going to take a few shots on Justin Porter, and it's really, He's got a massive shot rate, and if he somehow gets 25 plus minutes in this one, I could definitely see him getting, a 5 to 6x spot, right? If he's making his shots. I wish I could play Zach Foster more, to be honest with you, man. I just think that he's going to be really good. But sitting down here at 3,600, that's we're going to talk about all these darts from Clemson, but then there's just clearer value in that McNeese game that it's just hard to kind of get away from those guys, which means, man, for the large field tournament, you're trying to win 2K, right? There's nothing wrong with throwing a dart at Justin Porter. I think Dylan Hunter is the safest. So for me, I don't know if I'm going to really attack him in a tournament. Nick Davidson's just sitting there, 3,800. Like his rates are solid for what he is priced at. So yeah, maybe a shot or two on him. It's just tough to get to these guys because nobody should really own these guys with what we have in that later game. So I'm probably not playing Godfrey. I'm probably staying away from Welling. Really for me, I'm probably looking at really a Devonta or a Saunders, at least for me on the BYU side, and really maybe if I'm playing 10 lineups, maybe taking a shot at a Porter on 1 out of 10 and maybe a Davidson on another one, man. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. First one of the first two to lock on the slate. So make sure you guys hit those like and subscribe buttons. We're here bringing you the 7-gamer for tomorrow, December 9th on a Tuesday, 2K to first. Got my guy Raz hanging out. First time that we've done a show together. So appreciate him taking the time to come on tonight to do this. We'll flip it over here, Raz, to the Villanova plus 15 at Michigan, 147 implied total. Villanova implied for 66 points. Michigan over at 81 points. Love that. This is a massive pace-up spot for Villanova. Michigan playing at the 19th fastest tempo in the country. I'm looking at the pricing, though, on Villanova and just the minutes on the Villanova side. Outside of Lindsey and Brennan, they feel the safest as far as minutes are concerned. I don't think I'm touching anybody on this side, man. Can you talk me into anybody? Maybe Tyler Perkins, but does it even make sense for this slate?
I mean, I think we can get to Perkins. I think we can play a Caden Lewis. I like Lewis quite a bit just as a player. He's looking better. Like he looked lost in that opener against BYU. Like, I was tuned into that game really hard to start the season because I wanted to see how BYU worked with all those guys, but Lewis just didn't look the part of the stud freshman. But then he's bounced back since then. And I think 7K in this pace up spot, I think is a pretty decent price to pay for him. His assist rate for a freshman, super strong. I do worry that he might lose some of that assist upside because Duke Brennan's going to struggle. Matt Hodge is going to struggle. So he's got to rely on, Askew, Bryce Lindsey, Perkins making some perimeter shots. Yeah. And that could take a hit, but I don't mind it because Cadeau plays so fast himself. Lewis can kind of play himself into some steals too. I just think there's some upside in the matchup for him. And Perkins I think that's a pretty decent price.
He's sitting at 5,500.
6x upside. It's a guy that came into the season at 6,700. So I like to find, some spots where we think we're getting, some savings. And I think his price is probably down because he didn't have to do a whole lot in the last game against Penn.
Right.
So his minutes were lower, his output was lower, drops his price, $400 from his last time out. So he's somebody that I'm interested in because you mentioned the pace up spot is something that I want to target as much as I can.
Yeah. It's a massive pace up. Villanova playing 351st tempo and Michigan coming in at the 19th rated tempo. The problem is, man, people have had a hard time scoring on Michigan. They're first in the country in defensive efficiency. So got to take that into consideration. I'm firmly off the forwards. I'm probably with you. If I did play a Villanova guy, it's probably going to be a Caden Lewis in the large field tournament. Bryce Lindsey is only $100 more, but you have to just kind of the peripherals and the you steal upside of Caden Lewis, especially when you're matching up against Cadeau, who can turn it over a few times. So we'll flip it over to this Michigan side. Man, Yaxel is 10-2, and you see the other two guys, right? Especially Amar at 6,800, man, just knowing what he can do. Now, obviously, all these guys kind of eat into each other. And the other problem, Raz, is the 31st in bench minutes, and we haven't really seen them in a close game in forever, it feels like. So I never really play the guards, although Cadeau is interesting at 6,100 because he can double if he makes his shots. So I got to have some interest in this Michigan total at 81. What are you doing here?
Yeah, the bench minutes for Michigan really come from the guard rotation. Like they're just playing all those guys. Cadeau is going to be my favorite Michigan guy. He's just the upsides there. He went through a rough stretch, whether it be with fouls, some turnovers. Some of the other guys off the bench is playing stronger, in some spots. But he's bounced back the last couple. 22 assists over the last two. Like he's a guy that came into the year that I was gonna be all over his assist props in most games, just because like he gets to work with Mara and Yaxel and even Morris Johnson. But the Mara and Yaxel combination should raise his floor. So Cadeau at 6,100 is definitely somebody I want to play, because I was glad to play him at 7,800 earlier against Wake.
Yeah.
So. Like if I'm getting $1,700 off of that price when I was, jamming him in, right. I'm just gonna have to jam him in this spot. And it's just kind of probably play one of the forwards in most of my lineups, I think, to try to get it right. I don't know if I love Yaxel at 10-2 right now. But it is a slate where we're gonna have the money available, and there isn't exactly a ton of spend ups that we want. At least at first look. Maybe you'll convince me to play somebody else too. But this isn't a slate where we have, Boozer and right. even like Haggerty playing tonight, and Smith, like some of those guys. So Yaxel's going to have the ceiling. It's just tougher. I like it. Probably it's going to be Morez. It's probably like Cadeau and Morris Johnson as my two preferred. And then mixing in Yaxel and Mara around that.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this Michigan side for sure. So perfect, man. So that'll wrap up the first couple of games here. We'll slide into the game that pretty much is gonna, I'm sure you feel this way, the make or break of the slate, which is McNeese -1 at Rhode Island, 143 implied total here. What you do in this matchup is going to be critical. So we'll start with this McNeese side, man. 35th in bench minutes. They run a sometimes 10+ man rotation. Now, they're number 2 in forcing turnovers. Rhode Island is 221st in the country in taking care of the ball. So you're going to see probably some opportunities to get out in transition for McNeese. Man, the price tags, like nobody in this game is over 6,900, which is it's only 140 total, but you start looking at the price tags and it feels like 150, 155 total when you look at, what these guys are priced at. So up at the top, you got Larry Johnson. I can't. We've seen the upside from him. I'm just not going to go there. I would much rather, take a shot on a guy who burned me on the second slate of the year, Javon Garcia. Maybe that was the first slate where he was basically free. He is 5,800. Him and Garway Dual are boom bust potential. But really, DJ Richards, I think, is a solid value play at 3,900 now. He's very shot dependent. Tyshawn Archie sitting there at 5K. Sheriffan at 3,600 is kind of a boom bust guy, but really needs to have his stock upside tapped into here. So let's start with this McNeese side because I think it's a little bit more clear on the Rhode Island side what we're gonna do. What are you doing with McNeese? Do you even, are you considering, going with one of these guys or two of these guys and rolling another one or two value guys on the Rhode Island side? What do you say here?
I think I'm going to end up with two guys on the McNeese side. Okay. Some of that's going to really depend on what they come out with a starting lineup. They switched their starting lineup for the last game. To where Dual and Larry Johnson started. Archie and Richards came off the bench. Yep. And Colbert went back to the bench. Colbert's been in college forever, so he's pretty much a non-factor for me. But Sharon Fant, Match R, these guys just randomly got into the starting lineup at different times. Yeah. I'm with you. Richard probably feels like the play that you just have to put in. I'm kind of leaning towards Dual a little bit more than Archie and maybe more than Garcia. if he gets a start again. Obviously, like former top 100 guy at Providence, then at Seton Hall. Just a defensive menace out there, kind of fits the traditional McNeese like defensive style. And since you mentioned the turnover thing, like, he's just going to have plenty of upside. Garcia seems like he just kind of, I don't know, it was weird. He's the 2-time player of the year in the conference, and he just disappears completely offensively.
Yeah.
So it's tough for me to get there. This is probably a slate where he probably goes off, and
this is exactly what I'm thinking.
I'll be underweight on him, because I'll be playing other guys on McNeese, but it's just tough to not play two of them, I think, on a lot of lineups. Maybe it's only one, but right now, the way I look at it, I think it's two. I'm playing Larry Johnson only if he starts again, because he started last game and went off. The other games where he went off were complete blowouts, where he's off the bench getting those minutes. So, yeah, he's one where, he's probably the one for sure on this team that has to start for me to consider. Yeah, for sure. Not only with
he's got the lofty price tag, right? But, if he starts those rates, it's like, man, but this total, it's not great. So you kind of want the cheaper guys to feel good about diving into this 140 implied total. So we'll swing it over to the Rhode Island side where, man, 9 to 10 guys are a check in, but really it's pretty much a 7 to 8 man rotation. Tyler Cochran's 6,700. I think he's on any other slate. I'd be like, man, I'm pretty hyped to play a Tyler Cochran at 6,700. But then you look down here and it's like, okay, well, there's Miles Corey, there's Jonah Hinton, right? And it's just hard when they're at 4,500, 4,400. Jameer Tripp. All these guys are sub 5K RAS. I feel like this is the side I know I want to get to 2 on. I don't know. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, for one, like Hinton is just going to be jammed into, I don't know, every lineup that I make, maybe.
Oh,
yeah. I got to play around it just to see, like, when he fails, who on Rhode Island is making him fail. I guess 2 games ago would be a good look at it, but even then he still took 10 shots. He just failed because he couldn't make shots. Yeah. So it's really going to start with him, and then I really love Cochran quite a bit, but Miles Corey's definitely got the upside. I think I'd rather play Jameer Tripp than Miles Corey. Corey might have more upside than Tripp, but like Tripp just looks like he's a lock for 5X. At least his performances this season. All but one game so far, he's been 23 plus, 22 plus fantasy points. Like he does come off the bench, so like some people just won't play him because they don't play bench guys at all. But like his role and his usage off the bench is just there. So it's Hinton and then rotate Tripp and Cochran for most of them and probably some Corey. Yeah. Kean just doesn't really do it for me. Those block numbers with some defensive numbers, like there's upside there, but I just, I'd rather play the guys around that price on the other side in this game.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And it really comes down to, right, we're looking at this, 3-4 hours after the slate comes out. So, as I'm looking at it, you need at least 3 pieces from this game. It feels like at least 3, just based on the pricing. Hinton, it's basically a lock for me. I think you can kind of rotate, but for me, I think you can kind of rotate between Tripp and Corey. Cochran feels like maybe he gets a little bit lost in the shuffle, and this lineup construction is going to get kind of weird, right? Because it's like, man, there's so many cheap plays that you like to get to, but like you were saying, there's no Smith, there's no Toppin, there's no Boozer. So what we do up at the top, maybe some of these mid-tier guys like a Cochran, right, make a little more sense than jamming in, two value guys and getting just maybe a couple more mid-tier plays. So just things to think about. But that'll wrap up that game. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. Check out everything that we're doing over at One and Done CBB. Here with our guy Rash from DFS Army, talking about the college hoops slate for tomorrow, Tuesday, December the 9th, trying to win lots of money. All right, we'll slide into the next game. I think it's going to be a pretty good real-life game here. Illinois -2 at Ohio State. Illinois offensively has been a beast. with all these, these foreign players that they got, man. These guys can ball out. Ohio State, I don't know what got into them. Maybe it was just because they were playing Northwestern, but some of these guys actually looked pretty good, like Brandon Noel, which was kind of random. But yeah, I think this one's going to be a solid game to attack, because when you look at the price tags in this game environment, 156 implied total, you got some guys that we're used to seeing at 9K, 8K, I mean, especially on this Illinois side, Raz. I mean, I don't play Boswell. He's not really for me. I could understand the large field if you want to play him, but he's not a play for me. This Merkovich at 7,200 and then Tomislav at 6,100. I mean, people are just going to keep jamming the button on that. And then I think Wagler and Stojakovic are kind of interesting if you're trying to get a little bit away from the three values, right, from that other game. If you want to get to a Wagler or Stojakovic at 5,200, 5,400, man. What are your thoughts on this Illinois side? Almost 80 implied team total.
Yeah, I mean, Illinois is one of those ones that's kind of tough to figure out when they're at full health. Boswell, like, there's obviously a ton of upside with him. I mean, he showed it against UConn in a matchup that I didn't think he was necessarily going to be able to. So I'm interested just from that standpoint, but I don't. It's just tough. Merkovich, ton of upside, but like, I think as the season goes on, he's going to kind of come back down to earth a little bit. Just 9 shots over the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of those was a blowout. The last one wasn't all that, like a runaway by any means. So I don't know. The biggest thing is they've gotten healthier. So I think Wagler, Stojakovic they have a ton of upside. They're just 2 guys that I think can eat into each other. So like you have to guess which one's going to do it. Because I just don't think that both of them can do it together. So Wagler probably the better play because he had so much more peripherally. Yeah. So Stojakovic's just that big time scoring option. And like the twin brothers, like it's just tough to play either one. I mean, Tomislav's got a ton of upside at 6,100. Right?
Oh yeah.
$8,900 to begin the season. Probably around 9K or 9,200 last year at some time. So there's just a ton of upside. You're just always worried about that rotation. Zvonimir just playing 9 minutes last time out. Super interesting. So, interesting in the fact that it, helps out Tomislav more.
Right.
So, yeah, like Illinois is just one of those teams that I have trouble figuring out right now. Which I feel like in a few weeks I'll have them figured out more, just because I'm in Big Ten country, so I'm going to see them quite a bit, and understand it. But
I think for me, Raz, like because it's an 80 team total, and we know that, man, some of these guys can absolutely just go 6x at these price tags, and like you said, Merkovich, like all the bigs are back, right? So, but we're talking. I feel like one of these guys is going to go off, and it's which one is it, right? I like Tomislav. I think he's going to be the most popular, which means I really like Merkovich for a tournament, for the large field tournament, trying to win 2K. So I think I'll attack him a little bit, and even Andrej Stojakovic. I just feel like he's kind of in no man's land with this price tag, and kind of with Wagler just being annoying and right around him. So those two are pretty interesting if you're playing the large field tournament. Ohio State side seems a little bit clearer. Bruce Thornton, he's 8,900. He's going to play every single minute, basically. Phenomenal rates. I think he's one of the better, safe spend ups on the slate. And then you've got, if you want to spin the wheel on Royal, Noel, Tilly, and Tilly's been battling injuries. All these guys kind of boom bust turning options. I think John Mobley, look, I get it. You're banking on him making threes, maybe falling over a rebound and somehow poking out a steal or two to really get there in a tournament. But and that price tag, he's another one of those guys you talked about that paid a little bit more for. And this is it's gonna be a pretty up tempo game. So I think he's just kind of interesting. Obviously the play for me is Thornton. I don't know if I'm gonna spin the wheel on these forwards, man. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I'm trying to convince myself to spin the wheel on the forwards. I just don't know if I can. Royal, last year I would have gladly played him at 6,500.
yeah.
The issue here is another position change. Like, so he's moved from the 4 to the 3, to fit some of those bigger forwards that they've been playing this year. So his rebounding numbers are way down, just raw number wise. And that kind of limits him. He also only has 2 games with double-digit shots, where I thought he was getting double-digit shots quite often last year, but I'd have to go back and look for sure. But
he was getting double digits last year for sure.
Like, I want to play Thornton because he's just been so good, but Kyle and Boswell defense is a real thing.
Oh yeah, for
there
sure.
Isn't many like individual on-ball guys that I worry too much about, but like Boswell's one of those guys that I think he can do some things, but I do want to mix in a couple Thornton shares just because, like, obviously a pace up spot for Ohio State. Even though I'm kind of one of those guys that believes in the home team kind of dictates the pace a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for me right now, it's really just Thornton that I'm considering. I don't want to chase that Brandon Noel game.
I wish I played him last slate, man. I was going to, and I didn't. Oh, man.
I mean, at 4,100, that was a pretty nice price point. Yeah. Like, I don't believe in jumping on guys after a big random game and then they see a big price jump. Like, it feels like the wrong time to do it. You're just really setting yourself up for more failure than anything, especially when it's a guy that hasn't been able to put together 2 strong games in a row yet. Right. So expecting him to do that, just especially then against, the brothers down low, Merkovich, like, you guys are big, strong dudes. I just don't see it. So I'm really shocked to see that ranking, the DK ranking for defense over there against the forwards at 323rd. Like, it's really confusing to see where they come up with that number.
Yeah, and the fact that, like, Royal's one of those guys that, like, you click his name and then you're feeling good. It's like, he's 6,500. He's got 35 fantasy point upside, and then he's got 2 fouls in the first minute. That's such a Devin Royal thing to do. But man, like, speaking of this mid tier, it's kind of crazy. We love so much value on the slate, but then you're looking at it like Tomislav 6,100, Merkovich 7,200, Royals 6,500, Cochran 6,700. Like, there's going to be different paths to play the slate tomorrow, which makes it pretty interesting. All right, we'll wrap that game up. We'll slide over to the Penn State plus 12 at Indiana, 152 implied total. Oh man, Raz, this Penn State side, 9-man rotation, not many guys going over 30 minutes consistently. Both offenses just kind of meh for me. Penn State's defense obviously struggling, so I definitely like the Indiana side more. Just looking at this Penn State side, the pricing, I can't. I mean, maybe can you get to a Dominic Stewart, right? But it's like, do we have to on the slate? I don't know. It feels a lot safer to kind of go to those other values that we talked about. I don't have any interest. Maybe can you talk me into anybody in a 70-team total for Penn State on the road here?
I don't know that I can. Like, I like Mingo enough. Like, he surprised me, and I shouldn't say surprised, but he's been better than I anticipated to start out the season. But 8,200 does feel quite steep, I guess, on this slate. When we can play, I don't remember who I was Robert Wright for basically the same price. And then some guys later that would definitely talk about, or a Caden Lewis for 1,200 cheaper. Very similar type freshman, at least in my mind. I don't know, Freddie DeLone, guy that won me a bunch of money when he dropped 45 at 5,300 randomly. But I just can't get there. I feel like I'm just not really going to target IU games all that much this season. At least that's the gut feeling so far. A lot of it has to do with IU is generally overpriced, or has been when they've been on slates so far. Yeah, and I mean, Penn State, like, it's nobody really reliable enough from an offense standpoint. So, like, they definitely feel like they're the one team so far out of this group that is overpriced, where everybody else
Yeah,
feels underpriced.
it feels like everybody on this side is $500 to $1,000 overpriced to even consider for, at least for me. On this Indiana side, man, 285th in bench minutes, starters playing big minutes, specifically, DeVries, Wilkerson, Enright. Look, man, I don't know. I'm about to hop on this train on some of these guys. Like, look, I know Tucker, his role's completely different than what we've seen over the past couple of years. Seeing him at 9K, at least for a large field, very interesting. Lamar Wilkerson down now to 7,300, very interesting. Peyton Connerway, just with his upside with stocks, assists, and his usage rate, that's 6,800. I feel like all these guys have significant tourney upside and could be on a winner. Connor Enright, kind of a safe value play, right? He's going to shoot the ball 2 or 3 times, and then he's going to pick up, 5 or 6 assists, maybe a little bit, few more in this spot, right? I think he's a good value in this type of game environment where the team total, sitting up here at 82 points, right? They're going to score points. I think Reed Bailey is kind of an interesting, like sneaky boom bust, but he's more in the line of like you're playing a large field. I'm not recommending him. I just think he's kind of a cool, like no one's going to play him type of tournament play. And what if he hits, a couple of threes, even though the shot looks broken right now. But yeah, the pricing from where Indiana's been to now this matchup for me, Raz, I have significant interest in one-offing any one of these guys essentially, except for Enright, right? He's probably going to be a little more popular just due to his floor for a value play.
Yeah, the discount compared to their recent pricing obviously kind of brings them more into play. Like I think Lamar Wilkerson is like still too highly priced, to be honest. Like I get he has the upside, but he's basically been a 3 to 4x guy at this price point for the last month now. DeVries probably feels like a super strong, just plug him in cash play. If I was playing cash for sure. He's only gone, over 40 once. I suppose he could do it against Penn State, but it's not like he did it against some weaker competition either. Yeah. So I guess maybe Connerway is probably the one guy that I feel like even at their current price, like has 5 to 5.5x in his return. So maybe Connerway is the one way I would go, and he fits like the balance build. Maybe you just play Tucker because you play a bunch of the value guys and you just have to spend salary and you just hope for raw fantasy points, not necessarily a 5x, but you just want that raw, maybe 4 to 4.5.
Yeah. Just from looking at the slate, man, sounds like I'm a little bit higher on playing, some of these guys than you are, which is, we've seen what they've looked like. Absolutely. I'm just saying, man, that I would not be surprised if one of these dudes, Connerway, Wilkerson, or DeVries, ended up on the team that won 2K at like sub, nobody's going to play. DeVries will garner some ownership because of, right, you have the money to get him. But yeah, I just feel like they're kind of interesting in a nice spot where they're going to play their guys, and if the game stays within 15, like these guys are going to play 34 minutes or so. So I just think they're kind of interesting from a large field tourney perspective. So that'll wrap that one up. If you guys have any questions, comments, toss them in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Make sure you follow us over on Twitter at One and Done CBB. Here with our guy Raz, breaking down the 12-9 slate tomorrow, Tuesday, 2K to first, trying to take it down here. We got a couple of games left. One really good game to watch, and then one game where I'm trying to figure out why it's on the slate. So we'll go ahead and run through this Florida UConn matchup, man. 147 implied total. When we checked earlier, I think it may be maybe a +4 at this point over on KenPom. But two high quality teams. Obviously, a massive peso spot for UConn. They're 326th in tempo. Florida 42nd in tempo. You love the bench minutes, Raz, on the Florida side, 326. You kind of know who's going to be out there. I cannot believe this Condon price, even though the matchup, right? 7,400. Tournament players, I would think we're clicking his name, which makes Hauk like a really interesting spend up at 9,200 because it feels like no one's going to touch him at that price tag. Chinyelu, I don't ever play him, which means I had left a lot of money on the table because of his massive double-doubles that he's had this season. I'm not in on any of the guards except for Claptrap, who I think in real life needs to be more of a focal point because these other two guys, Lee and Flan, man, they've just really struggled. So, Raz, Condon, man, how much are you going to have of them, and what are you doing with the rest of the side?
Yeah, it feels like I'm just going to be jamming in Condon quite a bit. Yeah. It worries me, like, because I just haven't been able to get here how right. Traditionally, like, I just play in this scenario with a team like this, I just play whichever the guy is cheaper, when we have those 2v2 type spots, or 1v1, I should say. But I mean, Houck has just been really good. I just think like Condon's matchup isn't as dangerous to fouls as Houck's might be, playing on the wing. Caravan, not really a bang it down low or anything. Hasn't really, taken off like I thought he would have the last couple of years. He looked like just a future star early on. But, yeah, I think it's Condon just quite a bit. You do have to play some Houck shares just because, especially if you are overweight on Condon.
Yep.
Because it does feel like it's one or the other. Very similar to the Michigan scenario with all their forwards. Like you just want to play them, just not together. You just rotate it.
Yep.
Chinyelu, like 7K, I just can't. Especially like I would think that Terrence Reed probably plays a little bit.
Yeah, he's been practicing, so I think we see him tomorrow.
Yeah, so I mean, like Lee can always get hot. I mean, he did 2 games ago, right, against Providence, but I don't know. Boogie's just kind of a high floor guy. I don't really know that he has the upside, but like he has taken 34 shots over the last 2 games.
Like that.
When you see that kind of usage, like I feel like maybe I have to consider him. I don't really want to play guards against UConn all that often. Klavzar probably fits into all that, value option. He's going to take plenty of shots too. 6+ of them from 3. But from watching, like he's their best shooter, but he just doesn't offer them from a team standpoint all that much else, like defensively or anything. Like it's really tough to rely on him. So there are spots where I would play, like if we were starved for value, Hamlogden at 3,900 would be somebody I'd be interested in taking some shots with.
Right.
But we don't need that. So, that's kind of an easy pass for me. So really it's a lot for me to say that I'm just kind of playing Houck and Condon and, rotating them through lineups.
That's pretty much what I do with it's just crazy to see the price difference. I just feel like the ownership, but maybe not because you have all the value you're going to get 2 to 3 spend ups, man. So, maybe he's going to be a little more popular. It's just when you see the difference between them, I feel like everyone has a similar thinking where it's like you play one or the other. Well, we'll play Condon because he's $1,800 cheaper and we never get him at $7,400 essentially. So, all right, on the UConn side, Raz, I would assume Reed gets in here. Obviously, that just takes away Ribby. I at 6,300, I'm not on him at all at this point, especially with the matchup. I mean, we obviously got top 3 front court going up against here. Caravan at 8,400. I just don't really play him unless the slate's kind of a weird slate where I want to do something where I want to play 3 or 4 UConn guys. Silas Dimery at 7,500. I always think he's an interesting tournament play in this price range. Solo ball, more of a floor play for me. And then here's Mullins sitting here at 3,800. Just throw him into the field of value options that are on the slate, man. Any hard leans on this UConn side?
I think I'm going to end up fading UConn, which feels weird. Right. The pace up spot is good for them in general, but like I would guess that Reed probably plays, but he probably plays 15 to 18 minutes or something. And And like Caravan, I'm just not paying 8K plus for, like, at all at this point. Silas is somebody that I've been playing a lot, but he's just been underwhelming since that triple double.
Yeah.
And I think he's just kind of been hit by the fact that they're deeper at guard now with Mullins back. So they can rotate guys. Plus, like Malachi Smith had played exceptionally well against Illinois. So like when Malachi Smith is playing a little bit better, I think they can leave Silas on the bench for a little longer. So like just all that like ball, Solo Ball is a guy that I've played a decent amount. But I just don't think I can get there at 6,600. I gladly play him at 62 against Illinois, but I don't know. Like, I mean, that Florida backcourt defensively isn't very strong.
Yeah.
I mean, Fland is supposed to be a pretty strong on-ball guy, so maybe that kind of takes outside a little bit. And then Mullins just ruined some really nice lineups last time out where we thought he was going to maybe see 25 minutes because of a blowout and kind of get him going, where his minutes actually went down.
Yep.
So
you know how tilted I was going to be? That was the lineup the one lineup I didn't play on that slate is the one that I ended up taking it down, man. But I literally in every other lineup I had Mullins.
Mm-hmm.
I got to fade him on one.
I had him in pretty much everything. And I did write it up. Like, I remember this note that I wrote up for our members, like, everybody's kind of be predicting an increase in minutes because being the third game back and he looked decent last time out in a blowout. But what if his increase isn't there because it's a blowout? Mm-hmm. What if it's a way for them to rest him a little bit while playing some just to keep getting his legs under him? Right. And that's what it looked like it turned into. Like, he's out there for a couple minutes and then he'd sub out. Like, I wasn't watching the game live, but I had the box score play-by-play up on my computer.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like he was in there for a couple minutes and then out. Yep. Turnover, missed a three or something, and then out. So, I mean, maybe it was just a doghouse thing where I really didn't like the way he was playing, but I don't know what to do with him. It's frustrating because, like, I'm in a pretty big dynasty league with 22 other dudes around this industry, and I have Mullins, and like I needed him last week in that matchup. I thought it was great. I needed that start, and he just dudded for me.
Yeah. Now I think 50% of the field felt that pain on the DFS slate. So, all right, man, let's wrap it up with the final game here on the slate. We got USC minus 17 at San Diego, 159 implied total, which means USC nearly a 90-point team total, 112th in bench minutes. But really, when you look at it with the Rodney Rice situation, man, only 7 guys hitting the score table and very much so condensing minutes here. We should have really good pace in this matchup. San Diego, 287th in defensive efficiency. This USC side, man, I mean, we got CBM. Finally, I guess this is the role that he's always wanted, right? He's just taking a ton of shots. Rodney Rice will kind of got the question tag. We'll have to see here if he's out. That puts Jerry Easter and Jordan Marsh in play. I don't love Easter's price tag at 5,300, but Jordan Marsh at 3,700, I think, is an interesting value play. And you got the guys in the mid tier here. You got Jacob Kofi, who could double with stock upside at 7,700. You got Ezra Sarr, very shot dependent, but can pull down some rebounds. I don't love the tag at 6,600, but you have to love that it feels like 2 of these guys are gonna. At least somebody's going crazy in this game. Maybe 2 guys go 4x plus here, man. My favorite probably. I kind of like Kofi just because of his rebounding and stock upside. CBM because we'll have the money, obviously, and he just loves to chuck. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, it's tough. I do think a lot of USC is a little overpriced, which isn't a theme for this slate, so it's kind of weird to see. Like Baker Mazzara obviously kind of deserves the price hike and everything. But like, I don't know that he's going for 45. He's just somebody that like, I'll put it out there because it's going to happen. He's going to get tossed from a game at least once. Like, it's what he does.
Yeah.
Um,
Knucklehead.
I mean, 26-year-old playing college basketball yet, like things like that are going to happen, I guess. But I don't know which shoulder it is with Rodney Rice. Like, we're trying to look into that. If it's his shooting shoulder, like even if he's back, I don't think I want to play him.
Yeah.
But he's been so good. I just never envisioned him as like this point guard type.
Crazy.
Because he's chucks too. So, but he just has the ball so much that like if he is in the starting lineup, I think you want to play him. But the problem is like we're not going to get that information until after every other game tips off. Like maybe we get it right before the UConn game tips. But like if we're not getting it, I don't know what you can do. Like play Baker Mazzara and one other piece from this game and then pivot down to Rice and then upgrade. I mean, if you have the money out, maybe you're playing Baker Mazzara and Asar and then you can upgrade or downgrade, quote unquote, to Rice and then play Kofi. I don't know. But it's tough because like Marsh would make sense too on a normal price slate.
Right.
But I don't think we need him. And plus his value might depend on Rice's status too. So
exactly.
It becomes tough. I mean, I think I'm fine with Easter if he's starting again without Rice. Like, I think there's probably 5X again. He's played 75 minutes over the last 2 games. So, like, the minutes are super strong. He kind of has to be a little bit more efficient, though, and get to the free throw line, which is a worry. Especially like freshmen, I don't really like to rely on them having to get to a free throw line to help pay off their salary. But it may just turn into like that 2v2 thing that I talked about, otherwise fading USC, which feels gross because I feel like there's a shot that they have the highest, total by the end of the night.
Yeah, and then what happens when they get into a Troy situation where the game's in the nuts, and then that game's in double overtime, and then all of a sudden you're like, why the hell are like 4 USC guys on the optimal? What a slate that was, man. So annoying. But it feels weird, dude. 88 team total. I don't know why this game's on the slate. It's pretty annoying. I was really hoping when it came out it was not going to be because I knew that we would be having this type of conversation. So, flipping over to the San Diego side, my bad, Raz. What are you going to say?
No, I was just to say it's tough because like I assume it's on there just because like it starts 10 minutes after the UConn game on the slate. So they're probably looking at that time slot area, but yeah, I mean, because normally like this, a West Coast game would be a 9 Central Time start time, so it's an hour earlier than a normal USC game. So maybe that's why. But
maybe I just didn't want. I was wishing it would not happen because I knew we'd have this conversation. Somebody was going to run me down with the CBM lineup at the very end of the night when he shoots 23s. All right, on the San Diego side, man, 61st and bench minutes, 10 dudes play. Talk me into something. I doesn't make any sense for the slate. Why would I go here when we just talked about so many, like, I feel like there's undervalued mid, the 6K range, right? And lower 7K range. And then you have all these, we just talked about so many solid value plays that would look so much better if we didn't have the McNeese Rhode Island game. So, I mean, talk me into somebody from San Diego.
Well, I mean, pretty much the only guy, I guess. I mean, coming in, there would be 2 guys that I was going to look at, but now I noticed that Boscovich didn't start last game and then played just 3 minutes. Like if he started again, I think there's a lot of upside at that 4,200 price tag, kind of a GPP pivot off of the value. The problem is like the value you're playing is early, it's not like a pivot off if you miss on one of your spend ups early, to try to be different. Right. So that's the problem. I mean, the only guy then that is going to be in some builds is going to be Tylor. Usage, the fact that, I mean, he's a major recruit out of high school, like Louisville, just off the court stuff, etc., Wake Forest, and then ends up at San Diego. I mean, getting that usage for less than 6K is always nice. But again, he's probably at a price point where we don't need it. Maybe if you're going more balanced, which I think is going to be a route now. When I got through the first few games on my own before jumping on here, I'm like, yeah, it's just going to be cheap guys, and then you have to get the spend ups right. Well, now I really think there's a route to a really strong balance build, and maybe Tyler fits into that if you're probably going to end up leaving 400 or 500 on the table, which I think is going to be tough to do because there's some guys that I think probably just fit better in that low 6K range, or low to mid, especially like Kadu is 6,100. I could see myself getting into that scenario. Garcia is $100 cheaper. I mean, Tyler Perkins 300, Wagler 400 cheaper. So there's just a bunch of guys in that range. But I mean, you need some late upside. I mean, Tyler could drop 40. It's certainly in his range of outcomes. So
I think the problem with playing Tyler like that though is that if it is in the range of outcomes, that's probably going to make it a tighter game, and you're probably going to want 2 USC guys, maybe even I feel like he's perfect for if you're just trying to have this game stack, a late game stack where you hope it just stays close, large field type of stuff. But yeah, I mean, this mid tier, as we've talked through this entire slate, there's a lot of upside in this mid tier, and I don't want to take away from. I think it's more because we're looking at the spend ups, like we were saying, and there's not those guys like Boozer that are just gonna, go for 50, 55, right? The Braden Smiths. So now you look at the values and you're like, okay, maybe I only need a couple, right? But then you still have to sift through because there's 15 guys that we kind of like here under 5K, you know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those deals. So, all right, Raz, before we close this thing out, man, we usually do a core 4. I'll name some plays, man, that I find interesting, that we've kind of already talked about, but just kind of sum up what I'm thinking. I'll ask you to maybe toss us a couple here. I think, first of all, it's the Condon Houck. I think one of those guys is going to have a really nice game. Florida kind of needs to get over that hump with these big games that they've been playing. So I feel like one of those guys is going to be in, I want to say maybe 75% of my lineups here. I think the Merkovich, Ivisic, Tomislav play just in that mid tier from what we've been talking about. I think that's interesting for the large field tournament. I think sticking with the Indiana guys like a Connerway is a pretty sweet way to go in a tournament. And then we've got the value guys. It's going to be so hard not to start with one of these Rhode Island and McNeese guys. And really it's Hinton, like we were talking about. So who are maybe some of your favorite places we've talked through this as we do, an early look the night before?
Yeah. I mean, we're obviously very similar in that, the Florida scenario, obviously, I'm still going to probably stick with my Elliot Cadeau. Just 6,100 to me is just way too cheap. There's just so much upside with his assist numbers and potential steals against a freshman point guard on the other side as well. But he's in that price range. Tomislav is right there. Just mentioned, obviously, Tyler. So it's all those guys there. I have a feeling I'm going to end up being super overweight then on Morris Johnson too.
Yeah.
Which that's one that could probably make or break kind of a slate just because Cochran's right there, Asar's right there, Mara, Caden Lewis. So it's getting that upper 6K price point probably correct in that I feel like you're probably going to end up with 2 of those guys because you're playing some guys in the 5K, you're playing a couple of the low 6K guys in that balance build. So you have to nail that range. If my random mental math kind of checks out, but and then, I do think it's probably a USC guy, even though I don't love their pricing like Kofi. And then I guess the one guy that stands out that I mentioned earlier is Rob Wright. He's my favorite BYU play.
Okay.
So 8,300, I feel pretty good about that just because when you look at the guys above him, Caravan, I don't really want to pay 8,400. Terrace Reed, if he was playing full minutes, I would like him, but he's not. Rodney Rice might not play. Devance's fine, but Duke Brennan's 8,800 in a matchup against Mara and Yaxel. Like, no thanks. Yeah. Thornton against Boswell defense. I'm not really there. I mean,
DeVonce's probably going to gain a lot of ownership from that range. That 8,700 DeVonce is probably going to get a lot of people onto him.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's already setting up for a balanced build for me now. The more I look at the spend ups, I'm going to have the Stars and Scrubs build where I jam in like Hall, Yaxel, DeBonsa in a lineup and just make it work and kind of rotate that too. But I think I'm going to feel best about a little bit more balanced.
Yeah, that's kind of where that's kind of exactly the line of thinking. I'm probably going to play 10 lineups. I'm probably going to split it down the middle of 5 balanced lineups and then 5 Stars and Scrubs lineups. So this is going to make for an interesting tournament tomorrow, man. I think there's when we look back at it, it's going to be like, oh man, like there were a lot of different routes, man. I feel like there's going to be so many different builds near the top, man, that getting that 1.7K guy right, or getting maybe the different value play might be the winner here. So all right, man. Well, that'll wrap up the slate for tomorrow night. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Make sure you drop us a like and make sure you hit the subscribe button over 1,700 subs. And then also jump into the One and Done Invitational number 7. I know Raz is a winner. I think he won the 3rd one that we had this year. He was very excited and thrilled over on Twitter to claim that trophy. I think it's still in the mail, so it'll get there at some point, my man. But we always appreciate the love and support. And, man, we need to have you on again to break down another slate. So got anything you want to tell the people where they can find your work, where they can find you at?
Yeah, I mean, first, I appreciate you reaching out and having me on. I'm over at DFS Army. Do all, college basketball, MLB, NFL. We do a NFL show that's free on YouTube every Sunday, kind of a pre-lock thing. So, But yeah, X at Res11 Grinds. Always kind of around to chat. Don't really sleep all that much. I'm drinking coffee right now at 10:30 Central Time. So, but yeah, I always look forward to chatting, basketball and getting different takes, right? Like, I mentioned to you beforehand, like I've been in this industry for like 12 years. So like a lot of my talks have come with like Walter with FTN and Mike Kutry, like guys that have been around a lot, but it's the same guys over and over again. So being able to branch out and like seeing you guys do the things that you're doing and trying to push it more, it's nice to see because we need more than 2K to first for some of these main GPPs. This slate in particular is one that stands out to where I wish we had one of those 5K or 10K to first that they randomly have throughout the season, because there's so many different ways to build, and there's a lot of boom bust in those ways to where like some of those guys would fit great in a super large field. This 2K to first isn't necessarily a large field. 686 guys is pretty small, but I do appreciate bringing me on, let me spew random thoughts, and it's always nice.
Yeah, man. No, we appreciate you. We'll definitely have you on back again. Special shout out to our guy producing tonight, Nate C. Hustle, always doing his thing, and then Eric for getting the studio set up. Eric the Blue there. Jay with the night off. He'll be back with me tomorrow night as we live react to this Jimmy V Classic. Both games around 10:15, 10:30 Central Time tomorrow. So check that out. We've been getting a lot of love for those live reaction shows. So hope everyone has an awesome lineup, except for the tournaments that I'm playing in. And that's Raz up there in the DFS streets. So check all of his stuff out over at DFS Army. For me, I'm Mike Holland at MC Holland 34 over on Twitter. And for all the breadheads out there, let's go get this bread.